Please confirm. Are you getting me? Can you please ping in the chat? What did you learn in the last session? What did we discuss in the last session? Okay. Now, in the last session, we have discussed about routing concept, how to work with routing, how to secure your routes, how to work with child routes, route parameters, how to work with guards, okay, routing guards. These are the things we have discussed in the last session. So in today's session, I'm going to introduce a new topic. The topic name is REST API. How to handle REST API in Angular project. But before that, let's understand what is meant by REST API. What is the importance of REST API? Anyway, this is related to server-side technology, REST API, which is, we'll talk about the backend functionality. But what is the importance of the REST API? We'll talk about. Now, I'll give one simple example or small use case to make you understand how this REST API works. Okay, where we actually we use it. Okay, look at here. Look at this simple diagram. Going to draw. Now let's say I have one application. Let's consider we have an application. This application is it's an Aadhaar. It's an Aadhaar application. Aadhaar. So other application will have all our details. Now that is available in their data store. Our information is available in the data store. Okay, in the data store, the data is available. Okay, our information is available in the data store. Like our first name, last name, our address, our biometrics, other registration number, other email ID, whatever. All this information available in this store. Okay, this is technically we call DB server. Okay, database server where complete information is available. So this other project is capable. This other project is capable to store information, and it is capable to retrieve the information. This app is able to delete, not delete, we cannot delete. We can do modification, updating your mobile number. Okay, such things we can able to do. Okay, now this is actually one, this is completely one project. Okay, this is completely one project. It is completely one project. And this project, okay, let's consider this project might develop in a technology. It may be Java or .NET or Python, some technology. It might be developed in some technology. It might be developed in some technology. It may be Java, .NET, or Python. Okay. Okay. Consider. Okay, this is one project, this other app, and it is capable to handle our information. It is able to store the new citizen details, update the details, mobile number or email ID, and okay, retrieve the details. This is how it is possible. Okay. Now, this is the one scenario. Now these details are required for the banks. Now we have the banking applications. Okay, we may have some banking applications. Okay, required to access this information. Okay, required to access the information. Let's consider we may have SBI. Okay, SBI bank app may require your other authentication requirement. Okay, KYC and HSBC or HDFC. HDFC bank required these other details. LIC app may require these other details. ESI. Yes, app may require your other details. Income tax. Income tax app. Okay. It may require these details. Okay. Now these are different applications may require your other details. Okay. These are different. These are different applications. Okay. These are different applications. Now let's consider these applications are developed in different technologies. They might be developed in different technologies. Let's consider it could be this SBI app. Maybe it is developed using Java. It may be Java. And HDFC Bank, it may be Angular. It may be Angular. And LIC app, it may be React.js. Yes, application, it may be Python. And income tax, it may be .NET. Now, these applications are might be developed in different technologies. These applications might be developed with the different technologies. Okay. Now, these applications want to communicate with this other application, and they request the other details. Now, then how this process will happen? How this other application will give the access to our details to these bank applications. Okay. Now, technically, we call these applications. We have one name for this. We have a name for this. Now, technical, this is called producer. It is called producer application. This is producer application. Now, technically, these are called consumer applications. These are consumer applications, and this is a producer application. Okay. Now, if consumer application want to access this producer, so how the producer will give the access to this information to these consumers? In the middle, they will use one protocol or one API that is called through web services, they can able to transfer the data. Through web services, they can able to transfer data. One of the popular web service which can be developed using that is called REST. REST API. So with the help of REST API, this other application will give the REST endpoints. They will give the REST endpoints to this application. And with this REST endpoint, these consumers, they can able to access this information. Okay, that is only the possibility. So how the information will be transferred here? In between this consumer and producer with the help of REST API call. With the REST API call, they can able to transfer this data. And how this, so first what happened? From this consumer, now this consumer application will send the request. The consumer will send the request by using URL. Okay. Technically, if you want to access this application, it is a one web server. It is a web application. So you want to access that application, we require some endpoint. Let's consider this application might be running in one particular address. It may be something HTTPS. It is running some IP address. Other. Okay, this address. So in the other, there may be some user details. Okay, this is the endpoint. This is called endpoint. Now this endpoint will be used in the consumer application. Okay, if you know the address of that, if you have authorized to access it, then only the consumers can able to access. So from this consumer application, we'll send the request to this endpoint, and this endpoint given by this other application, something like this. Okay, now this will send the information. This will send the request to this. Then they will just process it. If it is allowed, they will process this. They will get process. Then you will get the something response. you'll get response back based on your request. Based on request, you'll get the response back. Okay, response will be given back. Okay, and the information will be exchanged between this consumer and producer application. We have one format that will be used that is called JSON. JSON is a format that will be used to transfer the data between a consumer and producer, this format. Okay, only in this format only we can able to send the request. Okay, this is the data. It is called global format, JSON. JSON is a global format. Global data format. Okay, and data will be interchanged between the consumer and producer using JSON data. And now, so as a front-end developer, you no need to know the backend functionality, because the backend, this is actual REST API. REST API will, who will develop the REST API? The REST API will be developed by server-side developers, nothing but backend developers. The backend developers, they will use some technology, it may be Java or .NET or Python or Ruby or Go or PHP. Okay, like there's some server-side technology will be used for developing RESTful APIs. And once the RESTful API is developed, and we can get this URL. So as a front-end developer, you need to understand how to handle, how to use this endpoint, how to send a request to this endpoint in our front-end application. Okay, generally, this endpoint may be used in a different technology. We can use this endpoint in Java application, again, Angular, React, Python, .NET, or even a JavaScript application, we can able to use it. Okay. So we'll understand how to send a request, how to send the RESTful API request from our Angular application, how to handle that, how to get the data, how to send the request. Okay, that we are going to understand in today's session. Now, from the consumer, we have the following requests we can able to send it, like these are the popular request types: get request, post, put, delete. These are the popular request types. Now, this get, we require this get request to send the, to get some information of server. Suppose, let's say we may have some user details. So you want to access the, you want to get all the user details, we can use the get request. Retrieve. Okay, this purpose is retrieval. Retrieval purpose we have to use this. Post, this is for the sending. We may use like insert. You can perform the insert or adding, you can get add operation, you can get it like registration. Okay, something like that we can. And put for this is update. And delete request for deleting. This is for delete. Delete request. Okay. And we have one more, we'll use patch, that is for the partial update we can just get. But these are the very common. Okay, we require these. These are the request types. We need to use these corresponding methods in order to send the request. We may require to use require this URL, and to this URL we can able to send this corresponding request types. That is how it is possible. Okay, so to understand this, we required at least one RESTful API required. Okay, and we create one simple RESTful API using some dummy RESTful API we can create for testing in our Angular project. We'll see that. Okay, is it clear, everybody? Are you getting some idea? What is this REST API? Why should we need it? Yes. Are you getting? Okay, now let's understand this is something which we require. Now, anyway, I discussed that. So give me some points here. So REST, it is actually stands for representational state transfer, which is one of the protocol for developing web services. And it is comes under architecture pattern for creating APIs. API is nothing but application program interface, which we generally to access some information from one technology or other technology, or you want to give some providing some support in the form of some built-in libraries, we can use the API. And so typically we can use this REST API to get something or to just communicate to the any server-side application to process your request. You may get request or post request, we can send it. Like get, put, post, delete request, we can able to process. Now these are the endpoints which you need to just I have to explain, right? The same thing. And so now I'm going to create one fake REST API we are going to create. Now this is actually one built-in support is available in the JavaScript. We can create this and we can able to just create one fake REST API for testing how to just work with that in our Angular project. We'll see that. Now this is JSON server. Okay, with the help of JSON server, we can create it without even if you don't know any server-side technologies, but still you want to practice this REST APIs, it will be helpful. But those are from server-side programmers. Okay, they can create it. Okay. So to create in Java, we require to understand the Spring Boot, Spring Boot you need to understand in Java. Okay, and in Python we have the Django REST frameworks is available for that. Okay, but different server-side technology will provide support for that. Okay. Anyway, you don't need to know the any server-side technology. To test this one, we'll create this. So this is actually one library which you can able to get it by installing npm install JSON server. Okay, this server, this is one library which you can able to install in order to work with this one. So you can run this anywhere. You can run in the project or separately you can run it. Anyway, we'll create a new project I'm going to create. And in that project, I'm going to test it. Okay. Now I'm going to create one new project. Tell me how to create a new project. I want to create one new app as app 3, or you can use some name you can give it. Okay, let me open the integrate terminal in the workspace. So in this workspace, in this Angular workspace, I'm going to create a new project. How to create a new project? Yes. Can you ping the command? You remember? Everybody. Do you remember how to create a project? Okay, now I'm creating one new project. Let me create. No one shared that command. Ng new app 3 I'm going to create. App 3 double FN no standalone. No standalone. Say no. No zone plus CSS I want. No server side rendering. Okay. Now I have created a new project. So let me go inside the project. This is app 3 I created. Now let me open the terminal inside that. So inside the terminal, now I'm going to run this command. I'm going to run this command. What is this command? npm install JSON server -g. This is globally will install it. Okay. So let me, you can run it in globally or you can run it directly. No. Now npm install -g JSON server. Now run this command. This will install the JSON server. Now JSON server will install in your machine. Globally will be installed. Then you'll find we require this command to run the JSON server. JSON server --watch db.json. This is a file will be generated in the current workspace in the current folder like app1 or app3. Within the app3 I'm trying to run it. Okay. Now this command will create one JSON file db.json with some sample data. And if you don't find it, let me watch JSON server watches file changes by default. But db file is not omitted, can be omitted. Let me run it default. By default and db JSON file that will create. If it's not create, we'll just create that file. Let me run once. Okay, now let me do one thing. Okay, I'm creating one file. If it's not created, we'll just create one file. So within this app3, okay, app3, I'm creating one file as db.json. Okay, I'm creating this file db.json. db.json file I've created. So now inside that, now I'm trying to run this JSON server watch db. Now let me run it. Okay, JSON server started on port number 3000 and it can be accessed with this URL. That is the meaning of that it's showing. Okay. Now then here what you have to do, here we have written that this is a db.json file, right? And if you access this URL, you don't find anything. You don't access anything. Let me show. So JSON server, no resources found in the JSON file. Okay. So what we need to give, we need to have some JSON object we need to specify. So I need to have a JSON object. Now we can create any objects. Now this is one object I'm going to create. One student. Okay, you can have a student or employee or customer, whatever. Okay. Now, so inside this db.json file, I have created one object. Now this is actually JSON format. Now JSON file is open with flow bracket, open and close. And this student is the one resource name. And then in this one, we have some students. This is the student 1, student 2. Okay, we have any number of students we can take. Okay, just save this file. Just add this, save it, and let me check in the here, reload it. This is actually CF/student. So when you click on that, you can able to access the student details. Now we have these two students we get. Now this is called get request. Okay, it is called a get request, which you can able to send with within the browser itself. We can able to send. That is possible. Okay, now if you want to get only one student, you can have /1. Okay, /1. We have a /1 is there. ID is student /1 / let me get, can I get access? But no student. Okay. ID1, ID2. Anyway, we'll check this. Okay. Now anyway, URL is working fine. URL is working fine. So this is how we can able to set up the fake RESTful API. We need to just establish here first of all. Before just using how we can use this, you must have this handy. Otherwise, you cannot test with the Angular with this RESTful APIs. Okay, clear everybody? Are you clear? How to run a simple fake RESTful API? Yes, clear, everybody? Okay, now once you're done, okay, then how to consume this RESTful API in our Angular project. Angular project, how do we consume? Okay, now we have one built-in service that is called HTTP client. Okay, this HTTP client is one built-in service which is provided in Angular. So with the help of this HTTP client service, we can able to send the RESTful API calls, and which is actually given in this separate package, Angular /common/HTTP. So with the help of this HTTP client service, we can able to send the get request, post request, delete request, put request. We can able to handle it. But earlier we used to have this service, HTTP service was there, but it was deprecated in Angular 4 version. So from Angular 5 version, we have only this HTTP client service only available. Okay. So we can use, happily we can use this HTTP client service. Okay. So now we'll see how to develop the one by one request. So for the first use case, which I want to take it, I want to just get the all students detail, which are given, which are already there, right? Here, when you have these students, we can have this student detail. We have two student details are already given. We have just created that. Okay, now I want to retrieve this information from an Angular project. Then I want to enter. Okay, now how do you send the request to this endpoint? This is actual endpoint, localhost 3000/student. This endpoint we have to handle. We have to send the request to this endpoint in order to send the request. Okay, now that how we can, I'm going to discuss one by one. So let's see first use case. I want to just have now we have already with project. Okay. In this app 3, I'm going to create some components which I want to work with that. Okay. Okay. These are the, I required one class, one student class, one student service, and one student list component. Okay. Now I'm going to create these things. One student class, student service, and student list component. Okay, now I want to run this. So let me open the terminal. Now open the terminal inside the project. Inside the project. So I'm creating one student class. And no, not required. Okay, a student class is generated. Then I required student service, but student service, I'll add a service. I'll just update with this one. ng services, within services folder, I'll create student service, student-service. Okay, this will generate a service. Then I'll generate one component. Components folder. Inside that, student-list. One student list component I am creating. Okay. That's it. Simple. We just created. Now we'll just update this one. Now let me. So we have the student class with student properties. We need to add. We need to add the student properties here. And we need to have even bootstrap. I want to have bootstrap now, but I want to add it. Okay. Now let me once. Anyway, we'll just do that. Before that, let me take bootstrap. Get bootstrap.com. Now add these links. One is link and a script element we need to add. Okay, I'm integrating the bootstrap to this project. So with the index.html, you can add it. Link and script element. Okay, just add these things. Then within app.html page, we'll add one navbar. Now, okay, I'll add the now bar here. So let me run the project. We'll display this now bar. ng so iPhone 4. I'm running the Angular project. So Angular project is running. Angular project is running on. Okay, this is Angular project. Just we have just like that. Now, okay, now we have this link. Anyway, we'll just customize this. Okay, we'll add one route to display that. Okay, how do we display that? Let me just okay, now I'll add one link here. There is this. So I'll add one routing. Let me add one routing for this component. How to add the route? Here we need to add the path name, student list, component name, student list. Okay, I just added this. So this is the router name which we can specify, which we can add here. I'll just remove these things. I'll add router link, student list. Okay, student list, and this drop downs, I don't require this, I'll just delete it. Okay, now there's a router link I just added, and then we require the router outlet. Router outlet. Then when we're trying to access it, yeah, now I'm able to access that student list. So when I click on that, I can able to access the student list component. Okay, this is student list component. And this. Okay, now here I need to just send the request to the backend. When I click on that, I want to send the request to that RESTful API and I want display. Okay, is it clear, everybody? Are you with me? Please confirm. Okay, now next, let's have the. So in order to work with HTTP client is a service that we require. Okay, we need to add inside the app module, we need to add one module, that is HTTP client module. Is it there or I can add it? Client HTTP client. Anyway, I think it's not required in the latest version. If we require, we'll add it. Okay. Now let me just have some properties. Now, what are the properties which are required here? This is whatever the property which I created in that JSON file. Those properties are required. Okay, this is the data, right? Here's the data. This is the data. ID, student name, student fees, student course. These are the 4 properties. So with the 4 properties, we need to just initialize the student object. So what I will do, I'll just have these properties. Okay, we need to have these properties here. Let me edit this. Okay, open the student and let's add it. ID. Let's number. Student name. String. Student fee property, which is also member type, and student course, which is a string. Okay, when you add these properties, okay, you may get error. Student course has no initializer, something like this. Okay, you can have some initial properties, you can add it if you want. Otherwise, we can just add one strict property initialization false, that it will just wait. Okay. Otherwise, you can initial value you want to add it, you can add it something like 0. Some empty. Student fees. Something 0. Okay, and just add some initial values. Okay. Okay, now this is student class. Then I require to have one service. So to get the service, we required anyway, this model is option. I think it's option. It is what. Otherwise, let me add this. I think it will get this deprecation error. But let me just add this. See, it is showing deprecated. The current version is not required, but in early work with old projects. Okay, still again. Now see here, it is saying HTTP client module is deprecated. It was marked as a deprecated. Configure the dependency injector HTTP client with supporting services automatically imported by HTTP client module. Okay, something. Anyway, we'll see. And okay, these are the properties we have added. Just initialize that with default values. And this is a service we are going to inject. Okay. Now we require this HTTP client service that you have to import from this package and inject this inside the constructor to access it. Then with the help of this one, we can able to call the methods like get request, post request, whatever the method which you can able to give. And we can provide the generic class name here. Okay. So now let me open the service. Go to service class. So now I'm the service class. Then let's have the constructor. Now I'm going to take the HTTP client. Okay, this is HTTP client service which we have to inject in order to send the request. Then I need to specify the URL, base URL or base path. Okay, base path. So where we need to send the request, we need to send the request to this URL. This is actually URL. Okay, that we need to specify. Base path, this is a URL. To this URL, we want to send the request. Because in this URL only, the RESTful API is working. We have created JSON server that is running on this port. Localhost 3000 and /student. Okay, now I want to send the request to this one. Now, how to send the request? Now I'm creating one method. Let's say get all students, or you can get all students data. And this method return type should be observable. Return type should be observable, which is of will take the student array type, or you can generic type you can specify. That will default in taking. Okay, because observable type, because when we call this, I'll show you. When you call this HTTP dot get request, so we need to pass that base path, and it return the return type of this method is HTTP get method return type is it's a observable. It's observable type. Okay, so return this. We have discussed this observable in the RxJS. Hope you remember, everybody. Can you remember? Observable is one of the service that is a part of RxJS. So with the help of this one, we can able to just get the data from that stream. Okay. And observable is actually the return type of this get method. Okay. That's why I'm returning this as an observable type only here. So with the help of observable, we can able to generally we can able to create some service. This is actually a built-in service, which is a part of RxJS, which is provided to handle the strings. And here I'll just let it be student with array type. Okay, generic type. Okay, now this is a get all student method. When you call this method, we can able to fetch the data. The data would be fetched. Okay, now service is done. Then we have to use this service. Then we can use the service in the component. Now go to the components, go to the student list component. So in this list component, let me take, I want to create the service. Let's create the service. Student service. Student service I created. So now I want to send the request. I want to call that student service dot get asked. Now where I'm going to call, we'll define one method to get it. Okay, I'm getting get students. I'm defining one method here. Get students method. Get all students online. I'm defining the same method name which I defined. So this method return get all students method. So on that we got to call the this is this dot service dot get all students. So on that we need to call the subscribe method to subscribe the data. So the complete data is available here. The complete data which is available here, that is available here. Now this data I want to assign to one student's variable which I want to retrieve. Students. Okay, this is the students. So in this one, I want to assign the data. Now this dot students equal to data. Okay, that's it. Simple way. Now get all students. This is a method. The service get all student method I'm just calling here. Now this will send a request here to this URL. And then the data will be pulled and the data which we are assigning to the students property. Now this student data is available. When you call it, the student data is available. Okay, and you can check it. Now let me just print on the console the students property. Okay, now let me check once. So this method, when you call this URL, I want to send the request. So when I click on that, I want to send it. But this method we haven't, we're not calling this method, right? This method we implemented, but this method is not called. So I won't call this method whenever this list student list component object is got created. So I won't call this method automatically. So what I will do, I'll take one Angular lifecycle hook method ng on init. So this method will be automatically invoked whenever this student list component object is gets created. Automatically, this method will be invoked. So in this method, I want to call that this dot get all students method. This method, the method which I just have implemented here. This method will call that service, student service gets all student method will be called, and we subscribe it and we got the data. So this method automatically will be called. This method will be automatically called. I am not calling this method explicitly. Okay, just add this. So now I will show the magic. Now can you see that? See here, we are accessing student list component. Now can you see that? Let me show you. Student list. So when you call this, I'll just tell it. I'll just let me reload it once. Yeah. Can you see that? Now we have that two student data set available. Now we got it. Student. See here, student details. Student one Scott, Anna, and course fee is something we just provided. Okay. So if there is update, if we update some data in the backend, okay. Now backend is available in our server. What is that file? db.json file. If you update this file with some data, I'll update with one more record. This is 3. Jones 5,000. Angular. One more data I'm adding here. Fresh React JS. So let me run it. Let me reload it once. Yeah, can you see that? I got these 4 records are available. Here, something happened in the backend. The backend is updated with the 2 more records. Now the data is reflecting here. Now data is available. So now I want to render this information. I want to display this information in the template. So let's do that. So data is available in this students list. So we'll just add, we'll update it. Yes, everybody, are you getting me? Are you following? Are you with me, everybody? Okay, now we'll add some bootstrap classes. I mean, let me add the table t head tr. Okay, I'll just add some course. student name, course name. Fields. Okay, now then I want to have the data T body. Let's take T. Okay, now this tr element I want to just repeat ng for. Let's get each student details. Get each student of students. Now the students is actually the property. This is actually an array, right? The students array. So this from this array we need to get one by one details. Let each student from students. So I'll take td. I'm interpolating. Interpolation student dot. Okay, let me call that properties. We have the id. This properties id, student name, student fees, student codes. Student. Make sure the spelling properly. Student name. Student course. Student fees. So let me check it. Yeah, variable display. Now let me add bootstrap class here. Table. Okay, we got the table. And if you want to add, you can add table stripe. Okay, we can get the stripe table. Student details. Where is that? Okay, that's it. See here. Now, so when I click on that student list route, so we are able to display the student list. So this is out. Now we can see the console. Let me just, I'll take here one, here the construct, right? I'll take one console log here. Student service is invoked. And here is student list. Student list in. See the console here. Now when I run it, can you see the student service object is invoked, that is called, and student list is invoked, and we got the data. Okay, and the data which is available, we are able to render. We are rendering that data in the template. Okay, now this is how we can able to send the request to the RESTful API. And if something is wrong with that API, see what happened. So this is endpoint, right? Where the endpoint we have created, this is endpoint. So I'll just provide something is wrong. I'll keep it this student is there, but I'll just put the students. Endpoint is students I'm using. Actually student only, but I just use students. And where this name is used, where we name configure, here in this db.json file. Student. Okay, this is a resource name. Okay, student. These are the students. This is a student we configured in the db.json. So where is name only how to you have to use here. Okay, remember that. So suppose I'm just updating here. This is actual student only, but I'm just calling the service as students. See what happened. See what happened. Can you see the data now? See here. See observe. Let me see here. The console you have to check what's wrong with that. Now this is a get request. See here. Get localhost colon 3000 slash students 404. That is not found. 404. 404 is nothing but not found. The resource which you are specified is not available. It's not there. Okay, that will lead to 404 error. So the error is 404. We got it. And complete error object, you can see this. The complete error object is given. Not found. HTTP failure response. HTTP error response. Okay, status code 404. Status text is not found. 404 is not found. That's the issue. This is a complete stack error stack we are getting here. Okay, and let me update. Let me just take the student. So now we got. So we get. Even let me show you some more error. Now we are running this 3000, right? Let me use. I'll just use 4000. 4000. So, but where this number is running, this number is run. We have used run when you run the JSON server, that is running in the port number 3000 only. Okay. So now see what is wrong with that. See here. See the error. Student service is invoked, student list is invoked, and we got error. Error connection refused. So what is the meaning of connection error? Because server connection is itself is wrong. What is the meaning of this connection itself? It is wrong. Okay, the error is specified, which is invalid. It's invalid. It's not valid. Okay, it won't work. It won't work because see here, we are running that. We are running the server. Here, this is the port. So when you run that JSON server that is running on localhost 3000, that is the default. That is the default port number which is generated when you run this server. When you run the server JSON server here. So by default that will run on port number 3000 only. Okay, if you want, you can change that. You can change it. But default port number is it is running on 3000. Okay, so that's why you have to use the same port number here in the service, because that's why before using that endpoint, first you have to check that the endpoint is working or not in the browser itself first of all. So in the browser you have to open that localhost 3000, that name. If it is working, if you're getting the data, if it is working, you can get the data. If it's not working, there is something wrong. So suppose see here, here itself you can see that out. If you use students URL name, I'm just providing students. So we don't have students URL. See what happened? Not found, you got. Here itself you got not found. Now, then I will just enter the localhost 4000. Okay. See here, connection error connection refused. So that's why first, before that, before using this endpoint, you have to check properly the fake REST API is working or not in your mission first. First, you have to run it. That I have explained, right? How to run it first of all. First of all, you have to install the JSON server and you have to create some sample. This db.json file you have to create. Then you have to just, this is even properly should be formatted. Okay. Then only we can able to use that endpoint in the project. Otherwise, you cannot. Okay. Clear everybody? Clear everybody? Okay. That's it. I'll stop here. Okay. Do practice what we have done today, because this is a continuation for the next session. Okay. Now we just display the student details. We'll develop one CRUD application. Ultimately, we are developing one CRUD application. Okay. In this continuation. Okay. We are displaying that. Next session, we'll talk about how to add the student details. We'll add functionality. We'll develop. Then I'll develop the updating. Then I'll develop the delete functionality. Okay. Like that, we continue. Okay. Ultimately, one CRUD application is CRUD operation we are building with this APIs. Okay, that's why do practice. Okay, we'll catch up in the next session. Next session will be continuation to this today's session. Okay, and just do practice what I have taken this student object, right? Just similar to that. Okay, after once you just done this practice, you can take another object also. You can create a new project and take another new object. It may be some customer or employee or a movie, whatever you like. Take it and take some properties on that and apply the same concept. Okay, then you will get idea. Instead of duplicating what I have done, you can change the object. You can change the object. Instead of student, take a movie. Then create the movie service. Create a movie list component. Okay, and try to apply this concept on that. Okay, hope it is clear. Okay. Okay, everybody. Do practice. We'll catch you next session. Bye. Take care.